Fasten your seatbelts for the realest Eagles and Sixers YouTuber! One who plays no clickbait and gets to the point! The myth, the legend, Nicky Steves! Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. I'm simply statue, think this slate, dropping unrealistic match. 2K takes for the clip. Even though cats like that get views closer to the millie, never hear me preach, slip on to Philly. Before you watch the Eagles all the way through the early 22, authentic talk, forget what others do. Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keep things real. The 24/7, 365 way. Sports content for the reals that fill the day. All right, good morning, folks. We are just 1 minute shy of noon Eastern Standard Time on April 7th, 2026, the first episode of the 3-Point Blitz in April. If you've noticed, I decided to tweak up the title a little bit and make Michigan the main talking point of this. So that's what we're going to do today. So give it another minute or so before we start this. And now with the weather warming up, there's going to be some more episodes outside. So that's the fun part about this. So we're going to do what we usually do. We'll kick this off, talk with the rant of the week, get the negativity out the way first. Then we're going to talk about Michigan defeating UConn, talk a little bit about the NBA over the past week, the hot and cold. And then we're going to do a few runs of an Eagles mock draft and do 3 runs of it, a 3-round, a 5-round, a full mock. Then we'll do the 2-minute recap where we'll give some attention to the stories that aren't the main talking points, but still deserve some attention as the closing segment. So that's what we got in store today. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road, starting off with the rant of the week. Unfortunately, it's another one of those situations. And the reason I put the word scandal in quotes is because it's becoming a much bigger story than it should be. So I will still give you my brief thoughts about it. Let's start into it. So this was from the women's Final Four after South Carolina upset UConn and ended their bid for a repeat. There was the controversy where the head coach of the UConn Huskies went off on a rant about Dawn Staley not shaking his hand. Basically, for those of you that don't know, the brief Cliff Notes version of it is when they went to do the traditional pre and post handshake between the coaches, apparently UConn's coach had to wait a few minutes for Dawn Staley to do the handshake. And apparently this happened before the game, and he was heated about it. And then after the game, there were some words exchanged between Gino and Dawn Staley about it. Supposedly, Gino took the first aim in the verbal exchange, and then that led to a brief scuffle back and forth. Even one of Dawn Staley's assistants got worried that something was going to happen that could be troubling, so she tried to intervene and convince Dawn to walk away. And then, long story short, the next day, Gino apologized for his actions and claimed that they don't reflect on UConn's values and the values we installed in his player and the values of their athletic organization. And this turned into a whole big story. Instead of focusing on a game between two of the greatest female college basketball coaches, being Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma, instead of focusing on that, you had Gino, who's led UConn to numerous national championships, Dawn Staley, who's led UConn to 2 and was looking for a third on Easter Sunday. Instead, the focus came about this scandal. And it is unfortunate reality of the world we live in. People love scandal and they love talking about basically petty, childish behavior, and they love making a much bigger story out of it to try to fill the airtime. Unfortunately, that's part of the 24/7 media cycle we have, where constantly a lot of people in the media are looking to fill airtime, and unfortunately, they do so by making smaller things into much bigger issues. And let's face it, everyday life, there might be some heated words exchanged. Things happen in all walks of life, at all businesses, whether it be your work life, your personal life. People have heated exchanges. I mean, everyone at some point has gotten into one at some point or another. So that in and of itself is nothing new. But unfortunately, instead of talking about Dawn Staley leading South Carolina to another national title game appearance and upsetting UConn, who looked like the favorites to win again, instead of talking about that and giving credit where credit's due, this became the subject. Now, I will say this about UConn's coach. I was listening to what Rich Eisen had to say, and I figured I'll listen to Rich Eisen because he's one of the people I trust in the mainstream when it comes to his perspective to give an honest take. And he pointed out that the same thing happened last year when UConn beat South Carolina, but UConn's coach didn't seem to make a big fuss of it. Now, assuming this is all true, then this speaks of selective outrage on Gino's behalf, because the same thing happened last year, but your team won. You weren't as worried about waiting for the traditional coach handshake when you won, but then this year you lose to the same team with the same coach and you're more worried about it. That tells you there's more to the picture than just being upset about having to wait for a handshake. And this speaks to selective outrage. And the fact that Gino came out, first he said he wasn't going to apologize for it in the post-game press conference immediately after the game, but then the next day he released a statement which he immediately painted himself, for lack of low-key, as the villain or the person in the wrong, because the fact that you apologize a day later, to me, it suggests that he had time to think about it and was like, you know what? I shouldn't have made as big a deal about it. I should owe an apology. And even then, when Dawn Staley was asked about in a press conference later, said that it wasn't that big of a concern. She didn't want to take away. She didn't want this to become a distraction. And it's such an unfortunate shame. We do live in that 24/7 media cycle where smaller stories become much bigger than they should be. Because instead of talking about, using this as an opportunity to talk about who some of the greatest coaches are, instead we're talking about basically a small, childish, high school-like sequence, which really isn't that big of a deal. Now, fortunately, in the time since, both coaches have backed off it and moved on and gone their separate ways. But it's a shame that these things happen. But all I can say is, guys, look, don't really talk about it. That's why I didn't make a video about it. I just decided to do a short rant. Come on here, just give my thoughts about it. Be as brief as possible. But at the same time, look, give credit to South Carolina on a great run, making it to the finals again. And credit to UCLA on a dominant win. Most notably came out of it was the story of Lauren Betts, one of the players for UCLA who overcame struggles with depression. But now the good thing about this story making realms is it reminds people that look, there have been people who've struggled with depression and anxiety who've overcome it and went on to achieve better things in their life. So at least the good thing with that UCLA win is Lauren Bett's story coming to life is it reminds people that for people who struggle with anxiety or depression, there is hope. And that's not the first. For some of you guys on here, the Philly fans on here, Brian Dawkins, both in his Hall of Fame speech and A Football Life documentary that came out shortly after his Hall of Fame induction, hinted at the fact that come his rookie year when he was dealing with the transition to the NFL, he was dealing with a lot of anxiety, but he overcame it. So just remember, though, hey, there's always hope on the other side of it. So congratulations to the UCLA women's on winning that game. I will discuss that a little bit more in the 2-minute recap. And now on to the main talking point of this show, what we talked about in the title. Last night, the Michigan Wolverines men's team, Mitch's favorite team, defeated UConn 69-63 in the national championship game. Now, going into this game, some people, myself included, thought that maybe UConn had the advantage because Coach Hurley on the men's side, he's used to winning in big game situations. They'd won 2 of the previous 3 entering last night's game, and UConn was going for their 3rd national title in 4 years. But Michigan had other plans, and they came out on top as the winners. The big difference being, particularly in the second half, 2 main factors. 1, Michigan was better inside the paint, and number 2, UConn was inefficient at the 3-point line. And even Coach Hurley in the post-game press conference, they asked him about, he didn't focus as much on the 3-point shooting and the missed opportunities there, even though his team had missed opportunities. He focused more on what Michigan did that they couldn't, and that's get their points inside the paint. Took advantage of those empty drives that UConn had with missed shots and took advantage of it by scoring points inside the paint. You guys, especially basketball fans, the most notable example over the past decade was the Houston Rockets in Game 7 in 2018 against the Warriors, where they missed 27 straight 3-point shots in terms of how bad 3-point shooting played a factor in the outcome of a game. Well, for starters, for UConn, it wasn't 27 missed threes, so it's not as significant, didn't have as significant a domino effect on the outcome. But on the flip side, Michigan did what they had to. Now, it's crazy with Michigan because this was a team mostly full of transfers, actually. There were several players on this Michigan team that were transfers. And now, though, but that's one of the benefits for college athletes. If you're in a situation where you're not really getting your time to shine, you can always transfer, go somewhere else, and it can pay off for you in the long term. Now, in this case for Michigan, I do have my notes here. You got Yaxel Lindbergh. He was a transfer. He was going to go to the NBA draft last year, but he was entered for the draft, but also entered for the transfer portal. And once he got word of the fact that, yeah, you're probably going to go maybe the second round, he decided to pull out of the NBA draft and decide to stay in the transfer portal, went to Michigan and ultimately won a championship. And now, because he was a factor at a national title win, his stock for the NBA draft is going to go up, which could help out in the long term. Because I say could because we're not going to know for sure until the draft happens. We see who gets drafted where, because that can play a big factor too. But as of now, shout out to Coach May and the Wolverines for an absolutely dominant run. And this all started Thanksgiving Eve, actually. Thanksgiving Eve 2025. It was Michigan versus Gonzaga where it all started. It was November 26, 2025, Thanksgiving Eve. Michigan beat Gonzaga 101-61. That's right, folks. A final score of 101-61. In that game, Liedenborg had 20 points, 11 rebounds in that one, which started the dominant run for Michigan all the way to winning it all last night and winning the national championship. So that goes to show you how momentum's key. And we saw where with Michigan from the start to the finish, this team believed in themselves. Coach May had the team believe in themselves. The players believed they could get it done. And ultimately, it paid off in the end. Hey, and remember, sometimes those early victories usually help with momentum the most. The reason, hey, a lot of times those teams that get those dominant runs during the season, whether that be college or professional and any team sport, sometimes that can help set momentum for them come playoff time to already be in the habit of playing hard during the season, winning in impressive fashion against good teams during the regular season, because now you're already building that momentum for the playoffs. You're already playing at a top tier level, which is needed come playoff time. And that can give teams advantage over their competition when it's all or nothing. And that worked really well for Michigan because they pretty much steamrolled through most of their games. The only notable loss they had was to Purdue for the Big Ten championship in an 8-point loss, but that didn't stop Michigan Wolverines from going on to win it all and win the national championship. And got to say, Michigan Athletics, I got to give them props because just a few short years ago, remember the football team won with Jim Harbaugh before Harbaugh took the Chargers job. But now Michigan fans get the joy of seeing their Wolverines win it all in the basketball world too. And this was clearly one of the best Michigan rousters, the best rouster since that Fab Four with Chris Webber, Jalen Rose as part of it since the early 90s. So it'll be interesting to see where Michigan goes from here. But also I got to give credit to UConn too, because they made a hell of a run. Coach Hurley especially had help that has led that team really well. And it's only fitting the best team and the team with arguably the best coach currently clashed in the national title game. And we got a good game out of it. But also credit to UConn. They had that big comeback against Duke as well. And all went really well for them. So it was pretty crazy. You also had Taurus Reed Jr. play. You also had they have a pretty solid team too. UConn, you had guys like Taurus Reed Jr., Alex Caravan, the forward, who I believe it's him now who's the most winning player in UConn at basketball history, if I'm not mistaken. So despite falling short, UConn had an incredible run too. And even Coach Hurley said in the post-game press conference, he's pinpointed to the idea that some people have of it's better to lose in the Final Four than it is to lose in the national title game. Coach Hurley dismissed that claim and said, no, I'm still proud of the fact that we made it. There we go. That's more Wolverines blue right there. But yeah, he dismissed that claim. He's like, nah, man, no. It's worth every second of it. Because if you made it to the finals, even if you fell short, that means you gave it your all. You went out there and gave it your best run, even if you fell short. Similar to what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57, the first time they played Kansas City, first time with Hurts, A.J. Smitty and company making it to the Super Bowl. They fell short, but going all the way to the Super Bowl and having that run was certainly worth the journey. And guess what? It helped pave the way for another title win down the line. So, hey, sometimes it could still pay off. Knowing Coach Hurley's history of winning and knowing he's been excellent at it, they could still come back and win again in a year or two from now. So, yeah, it's worth it. And plus for the players too, it's worth going to the finals, even if you fall short in the championship round. For those players that are trying to go to the NBA, or maybe some of them might go play basketball overseas professionally, for them it was worth it because now their stock gets elevated. And for those that are looking to turn professional or going to go to the NBA draft or go to professional league elsewhere, guess what? This opens a new window of opportunity for them in a pro career as well. So yeah, it's worth making that run all the way to the finals. Because the further you go in the tournament, the more eyes you get on you. So, yeah, you want to give it your all and try to win it. Even if you fall short, give it your all. So, I don't blame them at all one bit. But for UConn, man, they've had an excellent history of winning. They've had a lot of really good players pass through. We know guys like Ray Allen pass through. You also had Rudy Gay as well in the 2000s. UConn's had a decorated history, and they've had a couple They've had 3 championship game appearances through the March Madness tournament in the final 4 years, not to mention their women's program won last year as well. So really, that's 4 straight finals appearances for UConn basketball as a whole, and 3 wins out of that 4-year stretch. So it's a phenomenal run there from UConn as well. But now that it's over, we know pretty soon around the corner, once the NBA playoffs start, you're going to have the draft lottery. We're going to see who lands where, which teams, who's going to get the number 1 pick, who's going to get the number 2 pick, so on and so forth. But what I want to do real quickly is take a quick look at some of the updated projected 2026 NBA mock draft to kind of get an idea of where it stands as of now. So, all right, we'll just skip that ad. Let's go. So here's some projected mock drafts as of now. You got Washington. So you got, as of right now, well, now this doesn't tell the full story because this is just assuming the Wizards get the number 1 pick. It could easily be the Brooklyn Nets, or it could be the Indiana Pacers get the number 1 pick. It could be the Wizards, but we got to wait and see, though. So it's projected that you got AJ Dibansa from BYU is probably going to go number 1. Then Darion Peterson from Kansas, followed by Cameron Boozer to Duke. I know Agent Warrior X, Nets fan, predicts that they'll end up getting Boozer this year's draft. Then Caleb Wilson from North Carolina, possibly going to Utah. The Kings getting guard Darius Acuff. And then you got Kingston Flemings from Houston, projected to go 6th. Keaton Wagler projected to go 7th. 8th, Yaxel Lindenborg projected to go to Dallas. Now, dude, so we got 1 player from Michigan. Let's see. I'm going to skim through a little bit. Mikal Brown, Baden Berries, Labor Prillam. But also you got to remember, too, it's ultimately going to depend on who ends up getting the number 1 pick. And remember, some of these teams could trade those picks, too, before the draft starts. They could trade them right after the finals. They could do a pick swap. Maybe some of the teams, maybe, who knows, maybe the Nets and Kings do a pick swap at some point. I mean, we just got to wait and see on that too. But so let's see. So far we got really just, so far we only got 1 projected player from the 2 championship teams that I see thus far. Let's see. Although you do got a lot of players from Houston, as well as you got Luigi Sulugo from Italy, and you got Taris Reed from UConn. He's projected to go early 2nd round, which this goes to tell you right here that necessarily the best teams don't usually get best NBA players. But this is just an early mock draft, so goes to prove there's not a correlation there. But that's just a projected mock draft as of right now, though. So now time will tell. Time will tell what happens. Who knows? There could be an offseason trade that happens immediately following the finals. There could be a trade between 2 teams that are already out by the time the finals start. Or there could be a draft night trade possibly. And there's a lot of different possibilities that could happen that we don't know about yet. So it's too early for NBA mock drafts. Now, when it comes to mock drafts, on the other hand, we're getting closer toward the NFL. That being said, we'll have NFL mock drafts to come later. But before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA as well. Now that college season is behind us, and now that Michigan and UCLA have won respectively the men's and women's championships, we got to wait and see. And speaking of women, there was the big story of Angel Reese, who was one of the stars of the March Madness tournament a few years ago alongside Caitlin Clark, got traded. But we'll talk about that real briefly in the 2-minute recap at the end. But For now, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA because it's another week down and we're getting even closer to the NBA playoffs. So, folks, we're going to have some fun. So we're getting a little bit closer. We have a better idea. Now, yesterday, I did do a video talking about on my YouTube Shorts where I showed some of the seeding possibilities. I'll get to that in a minute, but spoiler alert, the Detroit Pistons already have the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. That's a lock. But with that being said, let's switch gears. Let's get to the players of the week. We got for this week that passed, we got out west, it's SGA. Got another player of the week nod in a continuing dominant season that left off from last week. 31.7, round to 32 points per game, 5 rebounds, round to 6 assists per game in the Thunder's 3 games and 3 victories last week. And then in the Eastern Conference, Jaylen Brown continued his most standout individual season to date, and Boston's 4 games with 3 wins with 31 points, about 5.5 rebounds, and we'll round up to 6 assists per game. And Jaylen Brown's really been the guy that's really stepped up and helped out, leading the way statistically for the Celtics without Jason Tatum for a majority of the season. But let's make no mistake about it. The Celtics did what my team, the Philadelphia 76ers, have consistently failed to do. And that is put good talent around your star players, take some of the pressure off them. And that's part of the reason, though, why Brown and Tatum excel in that role is because they don't have a ton of pressure on them. Jaylen Brown doesn't have a ton of pressure on him, even as the lead guy on the team, because he's surrounded by Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. Even when Tatum's not in the lineup, you also got guys. You got guys like Hoosier and those guys. He's surrounded by pretty good talent. Not to mention, Jaylen Brown's had the benefit of playing with a lot of good talent throughout his career as well. He had veteran Al Horford, who was still a key player for a period of time. You also had Kristaps Porzingis during that finals run a few weeks ago. So ultimately, look, it's easy for guys, and same goes for SGA too. He's the MVP. He's the most dominant player, but it helps for SGA to be surrounded by good talent over there in OKC. Caruso, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. You got other key players, other guys like Isaiah Joe can still come off the bench and score you about 6 points. Who can still score you maybe a couple threes per game off the bench and still help out. So it's good when you have Isaiah Hartenstein, who's still a decent role player, who doesn't have to be the best player on the team, but it helps in those cases for guys like SJ and Jaylen Brown. That's another thing that comes out of it too, man. But congratulations to those guys. To me, player of the weeks they're ultimately just awards. So, but ultimately, what it really counts most, though, with all due respect to those guys, is the team picture. Here we go. We're at the playoff picture now. And this is what we're at right now. As you see how the mighty have fallen. Let's start off a couple things that come to mind. For those that thought that maybe the Orlando Magic and Miami Heat fall off was a bit exaggerated. Well, look at the standings now. Remember when the Orlando Magic, just at the beginning of March, say, weather was starting to get a little warmer on days. I remember the Orlando Magic were in the playoffs itself without having to go through the play-in. Now, they've fallen all the way to the 9th seed. And the Miami Heat, who looked like they were starting to heat up going into March, have now fallen to the 10th seed. This is looking like Groundhog's Day for the Miami Heat from last year, when, granted, they got through the play-in tournament to get the 8th seed, only to get destroyed in the opening round by the Cleveland Cavaliers, including an embarrassing blowout in Game 4 to close the sweep. But you see how that, so that's one. You thought I was, but now we just see how far those teams have really fallen off, because now all of a sudden, look at the picture in the East. Yeah, Pistons have the number 1, but now the Hawks are the number 5 seed. I called it a few weeks ago. I said that the Atlanta Hawks could have a shot at possibly getting the 5 seed if they keep winning games. And now here they are. And considering that the Cleveland Cavaliers have Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, 2 players who are known as postseason underachievers, this could really help the Atlanta Hawks with what's likely is going to be a number 5 seed in opening round matchup against the Cavs. That could really be a favorable opening round matchup for the Hawks, potentially. But we also got to see how a Jalen Johnson-led Hawks team will fare come playoff time, because these Hawks players don't have experience in the playoffs yet. So that's still also a wait and see. And then you got the Raptors of the 6th seed. Like I said, the Raptors, they're a good team. They got talent, but I'm just not sure if they quite have that hunger to win a championship yet. They don't have that player on that roster that makes me think, this guy could really help lead T-Town to a championship win. Nah, I don't see that on this team. You had that in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard on that team, but I just don't see that with the 2026 Raptors. But they do have a good team. Now, out west, it's interesting. Now, all of a sudden, we talk about it all the time. I said before, this is what's like. Remember, I can always allude to, I could see the Denver Nuggets, if they win enough games, possibly getting a top 3 seed if they stay healthy. Because now with Luka Doncic's injury last week and him being out for the remainder of the regular season, the Lakers have fallen to the 4 seed, and it happened to them at the worst time. So if we're going to back to the who's hot and who's cold, I got to come out and say it. Lakers are cold because within the past week, because now without Luka, they've fallen to the 4 seed in a matchup with the Rockets, which I don't know. That could go either way on paper. And the Rockets go into that matchup healthy, we could be seeing the Rockets beat the Lakers in that series, because let's face it, if Luka's either unavailable or less than 100% come opening round, that could be a big advantage for the Rockets. And the Lakers, they still have LeBron James, and he can still play great from time to time. He can still go out and have you those great nights. We're not going to see it as consistently from LeBron James. We don't see it as consistently as we did 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So, LeBron James still flashes his greatness at moments. Him leading the way in a stacked Western Conference, I mean, if this were 5, 6 years ago, maybe they would have a chance, but I just don't see it happening this year. If Luka's unavailable, they're going to need Luka in there to really have a shot of at least getting to the second round or possibly the conference finals. So with that Luka injury, they're cold. But then you got really right about now, as far as who's hot and who's cold, there aren't really many changes. It's mostly the same teams that we've seen winning and losing games. And based off what we see right now, this is most likely going to be the playoff bracket. And I know the Raptors and Sixers are only separated by a game, but when I look at both the Sixers and Raptors remaining schedule, I'll show you guys in a second. The point is, I see more likely the Raptors keeping that 6 seed, Sixers playing the Hornets 7 versus 8 for the winner take 7 seed, because Raptors do have an easy schedule. Now I'll show you guys in just a second. I'm going to share the screen once I have both their schedules on tabs, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. We're going to start with the Raptors. So here we go. So the Toronto Raptors, there's only 3 games left, but they got the Miami Heat tonight. That should be a win, and then they got the Heat again Thursday. That if those games go as expected, that's 45 wins for the Raptors, and they close out against the Knicks, who may already be locked in seed-wise. They may already be locked in at the number 3 seed, so they may not even be playing their starters in that game, referring to the Knicks. Meanwhile, the Sixers, they got a few days break, but then they got to go play the Rockets. That's going to be a tough matchup. Then they got the Pacers and Bucks. I could see them winning those games, but especially the Pacers and Bucks, because those teams have nothing to play for, and the Sixers are. But then again, the Bucks game by Sunday, the Sixers may already be locked in the 7th spot, so we don't know necessarily if they even play their guys or not. So that could really be a toss-up if neither team really has anything to play for come this upcoming Sunday between the Sixers and Bucks. But if the Raptors win both games against the Heat, they'll probably have the number 6 seed locked, and they'll have the opening round matchup with the Knicks set. But as of right now, let's just say the season ended today. Let's say these are the matchups. Here's some of my, I see as of now, if this happened, I would see Pistons would see Sixers and Hornets. That's kind of a toss-up. It's going to depend on who plays. All the Sixers guys play in that game, I could see them winning and getting the 7th seed, having to play Boston, which if that does happen, I realistically got Boston winning that series, man. You know, I want my guys to win, but realistically, I'd have to go with the Celtics in that one. And then that would leave probably the Magic versus Heat. I could probably see the Magic winning that game, then Hornets playing the Magic. Maybe the Hornets win that game and they get the number 8 seed, and then it would be Pistons versus Hornets in the opening round. And then out west, I'd see Suns and Clippers. I could see maybe the Clippers get the upset. They get the 7th seed. Then I'd see the Trailblazers beating the Warriors. And that would lead the Suns versus Blazers for the 8th seed. I'd see the Suns winning that, having the Suns play the Thunder. And then, right, so give me 1 second. Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. It's amazing how you guys have been dominant all season long, yet you don't have the number 1 seed locked up, which to me, well, that goes to just show you how good it is, how good you guys are and how good the Spurs are, that it's that competitive. But nevertheless, so assuming that the Thunder do lock up the number 1 seed, which is most likely, they get the 1 seed based on the predictions for the play-in. It would be Thunder playing the Suns, and then the Spurs playing the Clippers. I would have the Thunder winning against the Suns easily, Spurs beating the Clippers. Then in the East, there would be, my prediction, Pistons would beat the Hornets, Celtics would beat my Sixers, and then you'd get Lakers and Rockets. At this point, I could see that going. I could see the Rockets potentially winning that series. And then to have the Rockets playing the Thunder in the second round, Nuggets, T-Wolves. If Anthony Edwards comes back, you know, never count the Ant-Man led T-Wolves out come playoff time, because they have made 2 conference finals. But I would go with the Nuggets to actually win there, and then it would be Nuggets. So I would have Nuggets winning there, and then in the East, the rest of the way, it would be Cavs and Hawks. I'd actually have the Hawks winning that series over the Cavs. And then Knicks and Raptors, I got the Knicks winning. So that would be my predictions for the opening round, assuming that the play-in goes as expected, assuming that the seedings remain finals. So, because I pretty much, Knicks, and I could see Boston clinching the number 2 seed. I don't see the Knicks overtaking them with just 1 week left. And let's face it, Cavs and Hawks, they're locked in. Hawks are locked in at the number 5 seed. Even if they win more games, they're not getting past the Cavs. And I don't see the Celtics dropping enough games for the Cavs to move up to the 3rd seed. So I see that staying put. And the Nuggets, Lakers, with Luka out, I don't see the Lakers winning out and moving up past the Nuggets for the 3 seed. So I see that pretty much set there. That's probably, so those are my predictions as of right now for the playoff picture. But we still have 1 week left. And our crew confidently confirms that he believes his Thunder will, in fact, lock up the number 1 seed. And I got to agree with you on that one. There's certainly no dispute on that one. So, but we still got to get through the rest of the week. And by next week, we'll definitely be here to talk about the playoffs, possibly even preview the play-in tournament. Boston will be number 2 seed. Oh, absolutely. So, with that being said, though, as promised, we are going to be doing some mock drafts. So, what I'm going to do is going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. And then, after a quick break, your boy will do 3 Eagles mock draft run-throughs, a 3-round mock draft run-through, a 5-round, and a full 7-round. So stay tuned. Your boy will be right back. And then I'm going to give you the mock draft. So be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your boy's right back. We'll give it another minute or so. So now we're getting down to it. It's time to switch helms and do some mock draft. So we're going to do a several run. So like I said, we're going to do a 3-round, 5-round, 7-round. So let's dive right into it. Enough talking. Let's get right into it. All right, so here we go. So we'll do this from the PFN, Pro Football Network. We're going to share the screen with you guys in just a second. And we're going to have ourselves a little fun doing this. So here we go. Here we go. We're going to do this. So here we go. We'll start this bad boy off with the full 3-rounder. Now, maybe I'll go a little bit slow. I'll do the slow speed on this one in just a second, folks. So that way we can extend this thing out. Who knows? Maybe we might get some breaking news that goes on while we're live. That'll actually give me something to talk about. We'll see if it happens or not. But ultimately, here we go. We're going to start this off to a 3-rounder first. So here we go. Let's start this off. We're going 23rd. And we're going slow. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is projected. It'll also be interesting to see what the CPU simulates for some of these other teams as well, which results we get here. David Bailey and edge, and oh man, Washington. It's hilarious as a Philly fan to see Washington completely fall apart, because it's like, but at the same time, it's so stupid the way they did that. It's like you had Jaden Daniels, instead of building a young core around him, they brought in a bunch of veterans who were ring chasing, and ultimately that 1 year they had was undone. So Washington, but we see you got Minnesota drafting a safety, offensive tackle for the Vikings, offensive guard for the Steelers, defensive tackle for the Texans. Let's see. We got a couple trade offers. Buffalo, nah. I'm rejecting all 3 of these. We're staying put, so we already lost our guard from Penn State. We might have to propose a trade to move up next time, because that's one of our key guys we could have had lost. But unfortunately in this case, we didn't get the offensive guard from Penn State, but we do need an edge rusher to fill that Jalen Phillips void. So let's take the best edge on the board at 23 in this one and go Akeem Mesidor from the Hurricanes. Fill that void there. And we also still got pick 54 next. We still need an offensive tackle because we got to get younger there, and we still need a safety. So especially to fill that linebacker room and to fill Reed Blankenship's loss. So let's see what happens there. The Chiefs take an edge, but they're also going to need an offensive guard too. Hey, what's up, Grego? What is up? Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust it for you guys. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to adjust the screen for you guys so I can zoom in for now. So here we go. We've got 54 coming up next. We're going to try to go for a safety in this one, fill that void. I feel like, though, with the Eagles, either way, come 20, if you stay put and take the best guy available at your position of need, we'd get, no, that's a reject. Nah. We're staying put right there. And like we said, we need either an offensive tackle, Caleb Tiernan. I'm going to take it in this one. Best at a position in need. You got Joshua Trotter. Wouldn't that be hysterical if we took Trotter as well? That would be hysterical, honestly, if we did that. Because then we'd have both of JT Senior's kids. But I don't think that's going to happen. We already got Junior. But we're definitely going to safety, pick 68 for sure. We're definitely going to safety. We need one. And no, I'm not taking Joshua Trotter, even though I'd like to. It's not really a need. I'm going to reject that one right there. Let's see. So we got to go. Oh, we do have a safety. Kamari Ramsey, USC. Let's take that and let's see. That goes. All right. Let's see. All right. So we're going. I got. All right. Lee Hunter, Texans going to defend. Or Chiefs going defensive tackle. Chiefs going to defensive heavy. Steelers got another offensive lineman? Man, that's 2 offensive linemen now for the Steelers. Man, they need to get some receivers or some help on their D-line. Jaguars getting a running back. That makes sense. They need to get Etienne's replacement with him going to the Saints. Defensive back for the Packers. I don't know. You might need a backup for Jordan Love, too. Oh, there the Steelers got a receiver. Isaiah World, Oregon, trying to give Herbert some protection. That's going to be a big need for them. Dolphins going an edge, but Dolphins need offense. Oh, there they go. They got a wide receiver, Elijah Sarah. We'll see if that actually pans out. And they got pick 94. Let's see. Oh, they took another defensive player? So that doesn't make a lot of sense here, Miami. Maybe Jonna Coleman might be the replacement over in Seattle. But let's see. Let's see what they got here. Nah. Now. All right, so we got a safety. You know what? Let's try taking. Oh, we do need a lineman, though, too. Let's. Because, yeah, we did take. Let's see. We do need a wide receiver and a tight end. So let's see who we got. Eli Stowers, Vanderbilt. Let's take him. So that's going to be my picks for this run through of the 3-round mock draft. So overall, we got a B from this one right here. All right, we got a B here. So we got Akeem Mesidor, A-, Khalib Tyron, B. We got Kamira Ramsey, B, and Eli Stowers, an A+. So I'm going to download this one, MD1 results. I'm going to save this. So I'm just going to save this real quickly. I'm just downloading this to my computer, so I save it. And now we're going to restart. We're going to do, a 5-rounder this time. And yes, we are doing the Eagles. So here we go again, folks. And Mendoza goes again as expected. Jets taking a wide receiver, man. At some point. Oh, again, David Bailey edge to Arizona. But I know that outside of Fernando Mendoza, this isn't a QB heavy draft class, but at some point during this draft, they got to both, respectively, the Cardinals and Jets, they got to make a swing and try to get a quarterback, because those are two teams desperate as could be to get a quarterback. Let me try something right here. Propose a trade with Pittsburgh. 23, 21, and let's propose this one. Okay, and it's been accepted. All right, so we're moving up a little bit. So we resume the draft. So let's see if this helps us out this time. And let's see what the result is on this one. So we're going to move up a few spots. They got Mesidor, who we took the first time. The Cowboys. All right, so here we go. It's all us. Nah. They offered us. Pittsburgh accepts the trade. Then we get another trade offer for it back. But this time we're taking the guard out of Penn State. Let's see how this goes. We're staying put with pick 54 as of now. So let's see how this one plays out. Like, nah, man, really? I'm sorry, but man, that's actually too funny. And what is it with this Dolphins defensive heavy strategy for a team that needs offense? That's a bit sus, if you will, coming from that team. That's very sus. Let's be real. So now here we go. They do get Denzel Boston in this one, but don't the Dolphins have another pick coming up, or was that a simulate? Or am I thinking of the last one? I'm not. I know it's not really that important. It's really just a mock draft anyway. So it is what it is. So, all right. So we got pick 54 on the clock. We're just going to wait and see how this one's. Now, we got our guard the first go around. So this time we're maybe looking more towards safety this go around, but we still got a few more picks. I don't want to get too Antonio Williams, give another weapon for Kyler Murray. Brown's getting a wide receiver, which would actually make sense of them to do. Try to get Shedeur Sanders, anything you can get on offense, anything. And I am going to reject all that. Head crazy, the Jaguars again. I know, right? But look, let's take AJ Holsey. No, he's going to. Bro, no. We weren't fighting, though. We weren't fighting. Get out of this. Stay out. Oh. And all right, let's see. Nah, I'm not accepting that. And let's see. So we got, all right, now we need an edge. So who we got? Should I do it? Should I go Joshua Trotter at linebacker? I mean, we just signed I'm going to try Joshua Josephs out of, let's see something. Is there any info on this guy? He is the 8th best. He's underweight. Yeah, but you want speed from your edge guys. So high floor and run defenses and pass rushings. I think with a guy, but that's a guy I feel like, ooh, this could be a guy. Who else you got? You got Oklahoma, Mason Thomas. He's another edge. Let's see. He broke out in 2024 with 9 sacks. He maintained previous levels of production, but he's getting comparisons to Nick Bonita. This could be a good one right there. That could be a good one there. All right. So I'm going to go with Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, edge 68. All right. So there's another run through right there. All right. There we go. So we got till pick 114. We got some time to work with now. We got our guy at our 3 main positions. Oh, there goes JT Sr.'s younger son, Joshua, to the Saints. Kamari Ramsey, this one going to the Vikings. Joshua Josephs went to the Steelers. And yeah, there's another tight end for the Falcons, but that quarterback situation still leaves some room to be desired. Oh, there's another tight end, Michael Trigg. Maybe if Kansas City does end up taking him, he could be the guy that replaces Travis Kelce when Kelce steps down, though. I will say this, if there were a draft for Kansas City to go get a tight end, this would be the draft to do so because you don't know how much longer Travis is going to be on the team. If you ever wanted to get his long-term replacement ready and groom them, this would be the year to do it. I could see some Todd Heap dynamics similar when, remember, Todd Heap was drafted by the Ravens after the Super Bowl win, and he learned under Shannon Sharp for a season before Sharp went back to Denver and he took over. So there could be a somewhat similar dynamic if KC goes for them. They also got a running back at a Penn State, which to me, I don't get that one. If you're Kansas City, you already got your running back. You want to get a few offensive linemen to help protect Mahomes because that offensive line last season, not the strongest point of Kansas City's team exactly. So, yeah, you might want to go and get yourself a few blockers to help. But, hey, this is only a mock draft run through from the Pro Football Network. So this doesn't necessarily reflect the real draft that's going to happen later this month. So we got to remember, really, this is just for fun. So let's not get too caught up in this. So, the Ravens are giving up a haul just for this pick. I mean, I could see a team like the Ravens doing that because they're desperate. So what do we need? We really need an offensive tackle. We'll go Austin Barber out of Florida. And let's see what that would do. Then we got pick 137 is next on the board, folks. We got that one coming as well. So take our time, relax a little bit. Let's see what you get. You got an edge for Detroit. All right, and we're getting a little bit closer now to pick 137. All right, and we got pick 137. Let's see. We already got D-line's kind of set. We got an edge. I'm going to take Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh because we do need another linebacker too, and that helps with the position of need. So now we want to go next. We either go tight end or wide receiver, fill that void because we need a tight end for the future. And face it, we do need a wide receiver, at least a role player, more so wide receiver. So just checking to see if we got, I was checking to see if we got anything from the chat. So I minimized the screen for a second, but Nevertheless, we're almost on the clock. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. We're just a few picks away. We got either a tight end or a wide receiver coming up. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Then we got pick 178. Nah. You know what? I think, how about this? How about we draft Zissy Zajon Stribling? Let's see. He's projected to go and let's see. A guy, he's got considered good hands. Let's see what happens. And what I'm going to do is we're going to try to move up in this one. Maybe. Let's see. Who could I move up with? Let me see what Chicago has. Nah, not Chicago. They don't. Who can we? Let's see. Who needs picks? I'm trying to look for a team. Let's see what the Bengals, what we can get. Nah, that's not. Looking for a team that picks before us that needs picks. Like, let's see about the Titans. Let's try Tampa Bay. Let's see. We're going to pick. So let's see what happens. All right. So we're going to move up a little bit, get our tight end, and let's go. All right. Here we go. Let's just get a tight end. So we're going to kind of jump. We're going to take Sam Roche from Stanford, and that'll be your last pick for the 5-round mock draft. Oh, and there's Nick Barrett, defensive tackle. Sounds similar to Nick Barnett. But it's not, but it does sound similar. All right, so here, all right, so we'll see what happens. So this will be the last for this one right here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, and we get a B for this one too. So let's see. Let's see what our picks are. We got that's considered B minus. AJ Hawsley, Jason Thomas A, Austin Barber B, Kyle Lewis. That's a C, and we got 3 C. We got C minus, C plus, C minus to close it out. So, all right, that kind of knocks down the grade a little bit. Okay, so. Give me one. All right, folks. Sorry about this, but I got to step aside for just 1 second. All right, so give me 1 second, folks. right, folks. Sorry, that was just a quick break, though, but don't worry, I'll be right back. Don't worry, I'm back now. So now this is it. We're gonna do a full 7-round run through Eagles mock draft. So here we go. So we got that saved. Now we're gonna restart it. But we'll pick the speed up for this one. Let's try some different possibilities here. Let's see. Oh man, Ravens jumped up and they reached. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, offensive lineman. We got several offense. Wait. Hold on. What the heck just happened? All right, full 7-round. Normal speed. Let's do this. All right, so this time around. Here we go. So, here we go. This is it. Full 7-round run through of this one. We got pick 23. Texans offered us pick 28. Nah, we're going to stay put at pick 23. Let's try Spencer Fanu as our first offensive tackle. Then we'll go defensive side the next couple picks. Here, let's propose a trade. So let's try this trade. All right, so we're going to move up a little bit. We're going to be pick 39 now, so we're going to try to get our hands on a good. All right, and we're not trading in that. We already did one trade. Let's see. Oh, get TJ Parker, Clemson. Ooh, let's go for it. So now we got pick 68 next, so we're still on the board there. All right, so far we got ourselves Spencer Fanu, TJ Parker, where we traded up with the Browns for him, and then the Browns at 54. They take Joshua Trotter. Oh, man. Kind of ironic in a way, but is what it is. Here we go. Pick 68. Here we go. Let's see what they try to offer us. Ain't happening. We stay. Jenna Smith. Keon Scott. And you got, all right, let's do it again. Kamiri Ramsey. And then we got pick 114 next. All right, let's see. And here we go. We got Pickett. We got our save now. We do have to get an edge though. So nope, we're going to reject. So let's take Romelio Height. Let's see how that goes right there. And we got pick 137 next. So take our time on this one. We'll see. And here we go. See what's up. We got no trade offers. All right. Board's clear of ours. Okay, so we got a couple edges. We got a safety. So now let's try to go a little bit. Let's see, who can we get? Well, we don't need a quarterback. So, we do need a receiver. Let's go Kevin Coleman Jr., Missouri. Let's see how that goes. And then we get pick 153 next. All right, no trade offers. Let's see. We do need a backup tight end, so .56 catches for 2 scores. Now he aims at keeping Longshaw's tight end streak alive after J. Tavon Sanders was selected in 2023 and Gunnar Helm 2024. Yeah. All right, that's not really. All right, that's not really a big. All right, big cast catcher, smooth. All right, this doesn't really tell me anything. This is just kind of all smoke and mirror. This is really all smoke and mirrors, man. I'm going to need. We got our OTAS and a tackle. We need. All right, let's try check injuries. Let's see if this goes different than the last one. So we got pick 178. We're going to take our time. Packers getting a wide receiver. Ravens going defense. Deion Burks to the Vikings. I believe I've seen this one before, haven't I? Of course, you'll see Sam Rouse this time to the Saints. Cyrus Allen. And now here we go. We still don't. Crazy. We still don't got any trade offers, but got a tight end, got a wide receiver. Ooh, we're kind of. All right, now let's see. What do we have pick wise? We still got 2 more picks in this one. So I'd say let's just go for a running back. Bring somebody in. Jamarion Miller. Let's see how that goes. We'll just mostly bring him in as a backup back just to fill the roster. This is where we're just going to. This is the just get somebody, go for it. Get a kicker to replace Jake Elliott. So we'll ferry him BYU. Let's see. All right, so that's going to be it for our 7-round mock draft. We'll see what letter grade we get here. And this is where guys like Carson Beck to the Lions. Second coming of Tom Brady. No, I'm just playing. I don't know what made me think of that. The fact that he was a 6 round pick made me think about it. So I guess that's it. Because, just late QB. Sometimes it works out, though. Steelers going safety. Rams maybe trying to get Stafford's successor. Ironically, both the Rams and the Lions taking a late quarterback in this one. Years after they still got their guy from the big trade. All right, so we get an A- for this one. All right, let's see. You got Spencer Fanu, TJ Parker, Kamari Ramsey, C-, C+. C minus, C minus, C minus. All right. Well, mostly the mid-round picks are going to be labeled C's anyway. So that's really neither here nor there. That is what it is. So that's that right there. So, yeah, with that being said, though, that's couldn't be probably on it for the 3-point blitz. So we did, oh yeah, we do have one more thing to get to first before we get down to it. Hold on a second. Are we? Let's get right down to it, folks. All right. So check. All right, we're good. All right, so we're gonna close this bit. We're going. All right. Let me see something. Check. Hold on. What's going on here? Second. Give me a sec. Check. Check. All right, here we go. All right, so let's do this out. So we're about to close this bad boy out. We got the 2-minute recap before we go. So we did our mock draft. Let's dive right into it. So we had UCLA, like I said, won the women's national championship, upsetting South Carolina. Big moment for UCLA, who never won a chip, who hasn't won a chip, and a great win over Dawn Staley, one of the greatest coaches in college basketball, both men's and women's. Big win for UCLA, and it's good because now Lauren Bett's story of overcoming depression comes to light and reminds people that there is hope on the other side. That's the main takeaway from this is you can overcome serious battles and still live on and still contribute to the world in a positive way. And that's what Lauren Betts did herself there. And also you had Angel Reese was traded to the Atlanta Dream, and now she gets to form a big three with Rain Howard and Alicia Gray. This became evident when Angel Reese said that she wanted to be better teammates. We knew it was a matter of time before she got traded, and now she just had 6 words. An Angel's Dream, ATL, what's up, with a question mark in response. And then you also had Dexter Lawrence in the NFL world has requested a trade from the New York Giants. Now, nothing is official yet, but it seems as though he is on the trading block, and we'll see if the Giants ultimately make a move. I was talking to a Giants fan at the gym earlier. He asked me what I think, and I told him most likely I could see realistically around trade day a trade possibly going through at the earliest. But we'll see about that one. Also, you have Mike Malone, the former winning coach for the Denver Nuggets, now going to North Carolina's basketball program to try out the pro-level program, which I don't know if that's going to work. You saw with Belichick, it didn't really work as well. And plus, the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch set for later this year has been canceled. Now, where have we seen this before? It's Mayweather-Pacquiao, the rivalry the fans want, but the administrative side just can't make a deal on happening. So that is it for this episode of the 3-Point Blitz. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And then we'll have next week will be episode 55, we'll talk a little bit, some more talk about the NBA play-in tournament, the NBA playoffs there. So with that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode tonight. We got everything on the table. It's going to be Riot Comedy, skit reaction, and along with that, we're also going to be doing some tier rankers as well. Agent will not be on tonight's show, so it'll be a sole edition. That'll be later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned. And again, thanks for tuning into the 3-Point Blitz. Your boy Nicky Stees signing off. Until next time, catch you later. Peace.